movie red, I'm making plays. I got the story by my side, I never play. So hit me with Bombay.
Hey guys, what's good? So as you can see, I'm working from home today. Figured I have some downtime and I'll shoot a video for you guys, and there'll be a bonus tip at the end, so make sure you stick around for that. And if you haven't subscribed already, hit that subscribe button, hit a like if this video helps you, and let's get right to it, man. Yo, alright guys, so I had to come back from taking a shit, but let me just turn on my headphones so I don't shit myself again. Just before we get started, I just want to shout out you guys something real quick. Ever since I started posting the last few videos about selling my studio and stuff, a lot of you actually reached out and actually got me to master a lot of your work. And I just wanted to say that, like, that is so cool from the bottom of my heart. That's like every engineer's dream. When I got into the game, the thing that scared me the most was working with people, because I have a lot of like anxiety and shit. But you know, over time, as I got to talk to more people, you realize that, like, yeah, okay, there's some bad apples here and there. Like, I've definitely been like fucked over and shit. I think it's important to note, if we're always looking out at each other and being like, yo, like, that guy looks kind of sus, then like we're never gonna talk to each other, and then we're never gonna collaborate. But like, the fastest way to get better as an artist is collaboration, straight up. And like, the only way to do that is to reach out and talk to people. I know, like, I still work in day jobs and shit, and I have to work a day job too at a point in my life. But you know, just understand that the fastest way that I got off my day job was when I quit being that guy who just locks himself up in his basement. You know, if nobody wants to share, then how are we ever gonna, you know, improve or know if what we're doing is necessarily the most efficient way or the best way? You know, anyway, I'm rambling. Like I was saying, this video is from a good friend of mine. He was asking about low end and how hard it is to hear. This is the easiest way that I found to show you guys. I'm gonna make more videos, but I need you guys to comment and actually let me know if this is what you guys are looking for or not, right? Okay.
Bougie like filet. Blessings on me, all I did was pray. Plug talk, 2 pounds on the way. If money talk, I got too much to say, okay. It's like I'm movie red, I'm making plays. I got the story by my side, I never play. So hit me with Bombay and Chardonnay. It got me acting different like I'm in a play, yeah.
So this is the format that I usually receive music in. Unfortunately, in the red, yellow, and there's nothing I can do about that. Now, I'm not complaining, because what it takes to work with a record label is to be able to receive stuff like this from all their various artists. They're gonna have an artist who knows what they're doing, but for every artist in the record label who knows what they're doing, there's 5 others who have no fucking idea, right? So if you are that dick who's like, hey, you know, in school they taught me that you need to deliver your stuff with -3 to -5 dBs of headroom, or else I cannot master this track. Guess what? The record label is not gonna call you back. They're gonna call someone like me. When I see something like this, I go,
Bougie like filet.
sounds fine to me, sounds spacious enough. Is there room in the kick?
Money talk, I got too much to say, okay. It's like I'm movie red.
Okay, it's distorting a bit, that's fine. I can still hear the kick. Yeah, let's get to it, man. When you're approaching low end, it is important to remember that bass needs space. Think about it like a nectarine or an orange, right? An orange consists of a thick outer layer of foreskin, and inside you have the pulp, right? When you eat an orange, which part do you eat? Do you eat the skin? What do people make juice? The skin? When you get a track and you want to turn it up as loud as possible, you think, okay, in a club, if a song is louder, then it should hit harder, right? Now, that was true in the CD days when clubs didn't have limiters. Music wasn't quite as loud as today just yet. So yes, if your track was 3 dB around there, people will be, oh, what's this track? Nowadays, when you have Spotify and you have YouTube and how most people are consuming the music, there's this big brick wall at the end that you can't pass. So if you're just turning your music up louder just to be louder, it's not going to hit harder, because what's going to happen is at the end, everyone's music is going to sound the same, except you are left with that fucking foreskin in your hand while everyone else is making orange juice. The skin? Here's another visual example. When you squeeze an orange, what you're left with is that thick husk, the memory of what an 808 was, called the fundamental, the note of the bass. So this note, you can hear it on small speakers, which is why most people think it's fine, that you can hear bass fine. But all you're doing is you're taking that piece of skin, the skin, and you're just slapping yourself with it in a club. Guess what? The subs are not doing this. They're not doing anything. The skin. All you're doing is the bass is coming from the tops. The other problem that I found is that there are a lot of good tutorials like this online. We can't fucking hear any of it because most people are listening to it on cell phone speakers, and they're not gonna go grab their headphones, and they're not gonna go, yeah, this guy matters so much to me that his tutorial, I'm gonna go grab a headphone, or I'm not gonna watch it now, I'm just gonna save it for later. No, you're gonna watch this video about me teaching you about low end on your cell phone, whether I like it or not. You're just watching it through your phone speakers, and one of them is probably broken because you listen to music way too loud. And that's fine. That's totally fine because you watch all my other tutorials, you can hear the differences. So that's what mastering is supposed to be about. It's subtle, but people don't pay if they can't hear a fucking difference. The skin. Here are your targets. I would pull out a piece of paper and a pen. I always have one around. You want to measure this in RMS. Now, I know some people are measuring, or not some people, most people are using LUFS nowadays. That's what I use on the Pro L because it doesn't allow me to use RMS. You know, my output is minus 14 LUFS for my target for streaming, but my input target is very different because if you have a track coming in hot into a limiter isn't going to be able to do much. You're not giving it enough space. What you want to do is you want to be able to pull the track back. You see, now you can deliver a punch. If you don't turn a track down, you just leave it as it is and you put a limiter. No matter how strong you are, I don't care if your arm is the size of a horse's leg, the skin, at this distance, you're not going to be able to deliver a punch. Sound is no different. It's all physics, guys. Come on. Minus 16 is more for pop, acoustic, rock tracks, where the energy, not the frequencies, the energy of the music is in your face, right? When it's acoustic and stuff, you want to feel like you're sitting beside a person and they're telling you a story. And you don't want to be that piece of shit friend who walks away. You want to just stay by their side. You're not going anywhere. The energy is right here, intimate. But if you want to deck your friend in the face for being a fucking idiot for going back to their ex, you want to pull it down to minus 20. Right? Because then now you really get that swing. So for hip hop and EDM, I find myself usually in the targets of minus 20 to minus 18. Between minus 18 and minus 16 is for the aforementioned genres that I worked on. But mostly you'll find me between minus 20 and minus 18 before I even put any EQ or even put a limiter on, okay? It's going to be difficult to hear the difference when, you know, your track dips in volume so much from here. You're going to fucking go deaf, right? So the way to counter that is, say I turn it down by minus 9, my target is, see, I'm slightly under 20, but when the kick comes in, we're up at minus 16. So got tons of dynamic range going on here. So what you want to do is you pull up your limiter at whatever your default setting is. This is my default setting. If you guys want to just screen grab that, you can go ahead and steal my settings. Turn it up by plus 9. So you turn it down by 9 here, and you turn it up by 9 there, and then we can now compare the before and after by bypassing both plugins. The skin. And what I want you guys to pay attention to is the kick and what happens behind it after the kick is gone. Pay attention to the vocal delays. So the kick's going to come in, then you're going to hear the vocal delays behind it. So this is with the two plugins engaged. I'll pull them up so you can see my targets.
Blessings on me, all I did was pray. Plug talk, 2 pounds on the way. If money talk, I got too much to say, okay. It's like I'm moving red, I'm making plays. I got this 30 by my side.
Also, look, we're not peaking anyway, Mom. We have graduated sound engineering school. We didn't have to pay all that money. So that took like 2 seconds. Usually we don't have to go through all this explanation. So when you sit down, hit your targets, turn it up by the same amount on your limiter, 2 seconds, and you're ready to slap on an EQ and call it a day. Let's hear what it sounds like with and without the EQ. Then I'll go into my settings, paying attention to the same things.
Bougie like filet. Blessings on me, all I did was pray. Plug talk, 2 pounds on the way. Bougie like filet. Blessings on me, all I did was pray. Plug talk, 2 pounds on the way. If money talk, I got too much to say, okay. If money talk, I got too much to say, okay. It's like I'm moving red, I'm making plays. I got this 30 by my seat talk, I got too much to say, okay. It's like I'm moving red, I'm making
So yeah, let's pull up my EQ and let's talk about some of the settings. First thing I like to do is work on the low end, because when you have the bottom end right, everything else at the top will take care of itself. What I like to do is I tend to sweep the filter until I hear the vocals start to pop out. Okay, so just go here, make sure it's in a low cut. I like to use between -18 and -24 because there's all this information down here that we don't need. I used to not cut my subs for years, and I figured out how to work with that. But recently I found that if I cut this, there's a lot more things I can do with whatever sits on top. So even I'm learning new things 10 years into the game. Okay, this is without it. Listen to the vocal.
Bougie like filet. Blessings on me, all I did was pray. Plug talk, 2 pounds on the way.
Do you notice how the energy of the vocal was more forward? Listen again.
Bougie like filet. Blessings on me, all I did was pray. Plug talk, 2 pounds on the way. If money talk, I got too much to say, okay, it's like I'm movie.
Right. So what you want to think of sound is this is a bowl. And if you have the bowl dip down like this, then water is going to spill this way. It's all going to, right? All your low end is now gone. And everything that you worked so hard for at the top is going to collapse down. So what I like to do is to cut bass, but boost a little bit here. So then when the water is here, right? When it tries to roll off and yeet itself off the edge, you can't because I put a little wall here. So just no choice but to go back up and support everything else that you built. The skin. Listen to the body of the vocal.
Bougie like filet. Blessings on me, all I did was pray. Plug talk, 2 pounds on the way. If money talk, I got too much to say, okay, it's like I'm movie. I'm making plays. I got this story by my side, I never plays.
So the vocal got a lot thicker, right? But we're cutting things. Music nowadays likes to be pushed. Nothing's poking out. So what I like to do is just add a little bit of presence where the body of the vocal is. And I found that it's around this spot.
Bougie like filet. Blessings on me, all I did was pray. Plug talk, 2 pounds on the way. If money talk, I got too much to say.
So bonus tip, you notice these have M's beside them. So in mastering, everything is about the center and everything you built on top of it. So when I do mastering nowadays, I'm working in mid-side, and what I'm doing is I'm only trying to reinforce the foundation or the spine per se. I'm not trying to change the track too much. When I boosted this so you guys can hear it, you hear that it was starting to get a little sour, a little breaky at the top. You'll hear it.
Bougie like filet. Blessings on me, all I did was pray. Plug talk, 2 pounds on the way. If money talk, I got too much to say, okay, it's like I'm movie.
It starts to get a little cooked on the top, and now everything's just stuck there like a mountain. You know, now we're back to static energy. We don't want that because music moves. We want to move you. So this is too much. So we're just gonna boost by, you know, half a dB. Listen to the air in the person's vocals.
I'm making plays. I got the story by my side, I never play. So hit me with Bombay and Chardonnay. It got me acting different like I'm in a play.
A lot of people think air is up here, and I understand, but like, yeah, check yourselves, man. Like, watch my videos. So essentially what I like is, here I find you can boost without affecting the balance too much and things aren't just staying put. But I still want the vocal to jump and be more exciting. So you can enable dynamics in Pro Q3. You can do this with a multi-band. You have a little bit more control over the attack and release. But essentially, whenever there's a signal here, it will add another, you know, how many dB? I go by my ears. But it looks like it adds another half or another 1 dB. And when there's no information there, it's not doing anything. So things can continue to move, right?
I got the story by my side, I never play. So hit me with Bombay and Chardonnay. It got me acting different like I'm in a play. Bougie like filet. Blessings on me, all I did was pray. Plug talk, 2 pounds on the way.
the skin. And the reason why we're doing this, even though you may be thinking this has nothing to do with subs, is remember what I was saying about that orange foreskin peel? This is also the frequency where that orange foreskin peel is. So you're tightening up the low end. You're not adding dynamics. You're just tightening up the low end. And whenever the orange foreskin peel of the sub, the skin, shows up, or the fundamental of the note, it takes that fundamental and it throws it in your face even harder. So essentially, whenever it shows up, we'll go from 0 to +2 with that orange peel, and you're definitely going to taste that vitamin C. If you don't believe me, listen to the kick.
Talk 2 pounds on the way. If money talk, I got too much to say, okay. It's like I'm Louis Ray, I'm making plays. I got this 30 by my side, I never play. So hit me with Bombay and Chardonnay.
So this is what we started with.
Bougie like filet. Blessings on me, all I did was pray. Plug talk, 2 pounds on the way. If money talk, I got too much to say, okay. It's like I'm Louis Ray, I'm making plays. I got this 30 by my side, I never play. So hit me and Chardonnay. It got me acting different like I'm in a play. Plug talk, 2 pounds on the way. If money talk, I got too much to say, okay. It's like I'm Louis Ray, I'm making plays. I got this 30 by my side, I never play. So hit me with Bombay and Chardonnay. It got me acting different like I'm in a play.
The skin? Still wondering if you should subscribe yet. I totally forgot. Oh, I was so cocky with that line too. I was like, you guys think you should subscribe yet? So what I'm about to show you is optional. You can do it, you don't have to, and it doesn't work all the time, but when it does, it's nice. If you go into the side, what happens when you mono bass, or when you only boost the middle of the bass frequency, is that you tend to get a little bit of a thinner, leaner bass sound, which is tight, right? You were always about that slappy, tight, punchy, clear bass. But sometimes, wouldn't it be nice to add a little bit of that body back? The body of the bass, just as how a lot of you thought air was up here, it's actually where the fundamental of the foreskin is. If you add more foreskin energy, where we have already added some nice booty, it's gonna smear that edge that we worked so hard for. So what you want to do is you want to add body on the sides without fucking what's in the center. You can have your pie and you can eat it at the same time. It's nice. Pay attention to the kick, obviously.
Plug talk, 2 pounds on the way. If money talk, I got too much to say, okay. It's like I'm Louis Ray, I'm making plays. I got this 30 by my side, I never play. So hit me with Bombay and Chardonnay. It got me acting different.
So by boosting the fundamental of the bass on the sides, we have a little bit more definition and foundation in those spots. And because we have more foundation in those spots, it helps support the delays, the vocal delays. So remember we were talking about the vocal delays just now? By adding a little bit more body to the foreskin of the kick, we can now hear more of the delays as well. So you get a double whammy for the price of one. I don't know how that saying works, but something like that. The skin is nice. Add a little bit more fake dynamics.
I got this 30 by my side, I never play. So hit me with Bombay and Chardonnay. It got me acting different like I'm in a play. Bougie like filet. Blessings on me, all I did was pray.